Alrighty, let's go. Welcome back into the Skooshi Sport Podcast, your live reaction for round 4 of Team List Tuesday. Team lists are out. Let's have a live reaction to them. We do have a lot going on this week. There's suspensions, there's injuries. Payne HAAS is in doubt. Apparently he's going to be named, but might be out. So we'll find out that one a little bit later. We've currently got Ryan Catchman's judiciary hearing going on as we speak, as I'm recording. So when I do get to the Dragons game, I'll see if there is an update further to that one there. But yeah, lots happening. There's injuries, suspensions. Supercoach is in absolute chaos. But yeah. Before we get started, make sure you give the video a like and subscribe to the channel as well. Bring these out to you every single Tuesday night for you. All right, let's get started though. For the 8 games this week, we've got Souths on the bye. First one of the week is Sea Eagles and the Roosters from Brookie here. 8 o'clock local kickoff on Thursday night. Starting with Manly. Turbo at the back. On the wings, we got Jason Saab and Lehigh Hopewate. Centers, Tolatal Kola and Ruben Garrick. In your halves, Luke Brooks and Jamal Fogarty. In the forwards, Talia Paseka and Kobe Hedrington. So Takiaho is still not back starting. We've got Japes Simpkin starting a hooker. On your edges, Hamole Olakwatu and Ben Trbojevic, and lock Jake Trbojevic. Look, I was a big critic of this last week in my review when they lost the Knights, that Kobe's just, why is he getting 40 minutes in the middle and Jake's getting 65 or something? So we'll see how it goes this week with Jake at lock there. On your bench, Brendan Wakeham, Corey Waddell, Ethan Bullymore, Paul Bryan, Simone Laiafi. Looks like he's going to get his debut potentially, and then Josh Felaty. Still no sign of Takiaho, so sounds like he'll probably be back next week. No massive surprises. Obviously, you still got Kobe there in the forward. Sounds like, I think it's Laiafi will get his potential debut if Simpkin ends up playing 80, which is really cool. Really did impress in the trials. For the Roosters, coming off that loss to the Panthers last week, we've got Teddy at fullback. On your wings, Daniel Tupou and Mark Nwanga-Nitawase. In your centres, Billy Smith returns back from his 2-game hiatus from his HIA, and Bobby Toy there on the right. On your halves, DC and Sammy Walker. In your forwards, we've got Nath White and Lindsay Collins up front. Reece Robson starting there hooker. On your edges, Gus Crichton there on your left, Siwa Wong there on your right, and Egan Butcher there starting at lock. So it looks like a pretty unchanged team so far. On your bench, Connor Watson, Blake Steep, Nat Butcher, Selassie Fiketti, Cody Ramsey, and Hugo Savala. Look, Llewellyn there in the reserve, Rodwell and Lasalu. I mean, look, there's only one change there, which is a necessary change, Billy Smith back in. I'm pretty surprised there's been no sort of change, because I think that the Roosters have been pretty poor so far after 3 games, that there's been no big changes here. No one's really been under the sort of the chopping block. Got absolutely spanked last week, 40-4. It's kind of a typical Trent Robinson kind of thing, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like there's got to be some players under pressure in this team, but we'll see how they go on Thursday. Crossing over to Friday with the Wars and the Tigers from New Zealand. This one here kicking off 6 o'clock, or it'll be 8 o'clock local time, 5 o'clock for me here in Brizzy. Warriors got a couple of returns. Chance goes back to fullback. I find interesting, but whatever. Hello, fucking hello. Just saw a name down below. On your wings, we've got DWZ and RTS. And your centers, Adam Pompey is back from his wife having a baby. And Ali Leitao in the centers. And in your half, I was not expecting this. Oh, baby. Lukey Met in the 6, Tanner Boy in the 7. I love to see this. I love to see it. I love to see it. Lukey Met back. Lukey Met's back, baby. Fucking let's go. In your forwards, James Fisher-Harris, Jackson Ford getting his start. You got Wade Egan there starting a hooker. On your edges, Leka Halasima on the left, Jacob Laban there on the right, and then Aaron Clark starting at lock. On your bench, Sam Healy, Mitch Barnett, Dimitri Galmunga, Tanis Dale-Smith, Marata Niokore, and Chanel Harris-Tavita. Wow, that bench is fucking stacked. I'm going to be interested to see who potentially is going to miss out, the 2 players, because these 3, Sam Healy, Mitch Barnett, and Varmunga, are going to get minutes. I'm very intrigued to see who's the fourth player that's going to get minutes. Obviously, it could be HA and injury dependent. Maybe Nia Corey comes on for Jacob Laban for a bit, I'd say. Mate, I am pumped. Lukey Met's back in the 6. I think Andrew Webster has made the right decision there. Tane Tuapiki, AKP, and Iramia Toriava there in the reserve. I'm so pumped. So pumped. Lukey Met's back, baby. Early 2. Sounds like it's going to be round 7 or round 8, but he's back in round 4. Massman is doing super well. The 3, no, there's no massive rush to bring him back. For the Tigers, obviously going to be a little bit injury affected here, I think. Fullback Dream Buller on your wings, Jarrell Skelton and Luke Lau-Lili. In your centers, Sania Taruva and Hamasi Makasini. 5'8", we've got Jock Madden replacing injured Jerome Luai. Adam Dewey, good to go. That is very good signs for the Tigers being clear to play. Not sure if that's been confirmed. He's just been named, but maybe we'll see the reserves. Terrell May, Fanua Bole up front. We've got Api Coruscant at the hooker role. Samuela Fainu and KPP there on your edges, and Alex Twal there starting at lock. On your bench, Tristan Hope, Sione Fainu, Royce Hunt, Alex Seyfarth, Bunty Afawa, and Falatino Tavana. I've never heard of that guy. Very interesting. On your reserve, Tony Saka, Latu Fainu, and Patrick Herbert. I mean, look, they can always bring in Latu Fainu, I guess, if Adam Dewey's not good to go, but sound like even he's not on that 6-man bench, sounds like he must be pretty good to go in that one there. So no big surprises. Obviously, Jerome Luai's out for 4 weeks, and then so Jock Madden just comes in. Tough trip for the Tigers heading to New Zealand. Now you got Lukey Met come back. I'm absolutely pumped. I'm so keen to see how these two go together, Lukey Met and Tanner Boyd. Especially Tanner Boyd still in that 7 role. He's earned to keep that 7 role. I'm so happy for Tanner, really am. Broncos and the Dolphins, Friday night battle of the Brisbane Derby here. For the Broncos here, Reece Walsh at fullback, Karapani and Grant Anderson on the wing, so he retains his spot there. Katoni Staggs and Dean Mariner in the centre, so Shibasaki is still being dropped. I mean, what would you change after last week? Ezra Mam, Adam Reynolds makes his return there at halfback there. Corey Jensen and this throws Supercoach into absolute tatters. Holy shit. No Payne Haas. I heard he is in doubt. I heard he's going to get named, but maybe he's going to be out. He hasn't even been named. My goodness. Wow. That was a huge loss. Got an AC joint. It sounds like he's going to be out. Potentially, maybe he's back next week, but I don't know. Wow, it's a massive loss to the Broncos there. Corey Pakes out hooker. On your edges, Brendan Piakura and Jordan Ricky. So Gashevsky is either good enough to play, but maybe just want Piakura in there. Patrick Carrigan there at lock. On your bench, Ben Hunt, Ben Tolte, All Black Staffer, Shibasaki, Jaden Hunt, and Blake Moser. Big surprise, obviously, I wasn't expecting Payne Haas to be named, not even named in general. He's even in the reserves. He's not even in the reserves. Wow, okay. Just obviously giving him, yeah, right, maybe he's just not good to go. For the Dolphins, Hammer at fullback. On your wings, we got Jermaine Sarko and Selwyn Cobbo. In your centers, Jake Avarillo and Herbie Farnworth. In your halves, Cody Nikarima and Izzy Katoa. In your forwards, Tommy Gilbert and Felice Kafusi. So no Tom Flegler. Sounds like he's still obviously suffering injury. We've got Maxi Plath there at hooker. On your edges, Connie Lemalolu and Kulikefu Finefuaki. And then Morgan Knowles at lock. On your interchange, Brad Schneider, Tom Flegler. Tom Flegler's on the bench. Okay. Oren Cleary, Ray Stone, Trey Fuller, and Francis Molo. Pixar, I knew Tom Flegler's obviously battling injury. Maybe I expected him to start, but I can see why they're just bringing him off the bench. Otherwise, no real big surprises there for me from the Finns. Doggies and the Knights first game on Super Saturday here at 2 o'clock local time here, 3 o'clock local kickoff in Sydney. For the Doggies, Connor Tracy at fullback, man of the match last week. On your wings, Jacob Kiraz and Marcelo Montoya. In your centers, Inari Tawala and Stephen Crichton. In your halves, Matt Burden and Lockie Galvin. Interested to see how this halves combo. I put a reel about it up at the other day and spoke about in my review that I think there needs to be a change in the halves when Mitch Woods is healthy. In your forwards, Max King and Satili Tupanua. So Tupinua's getting the start over Sam Hughes because Sam Hughes got a HIA last week, I believe. Bailey Hayward there in the 9. Kick out and Jacob Preston on the edges. Jamin Salmon there at lock. On your bench, Kurtman, Josh Curran, Leapoy, Hippoy, Sean O'Sullivan, Jonathan Stewart, and Fletcher Baker. So yeah, obviously you got Bronson Sherry there in the reserves. No Sam Hughes this week for the Doggies, so no massive real surprises really. Got no Jake Turpin, no Harry Hayes either. I did forget about Harry Hayes, it's my bad, but that's still a strong enough squad really when you look at it there. For the Knights, we got Fletcher Hunt at fullback there. KP still out. On your wings, Dom Young and Greg Marzu. For your centers, Dan Gagai, Bradman Best. In your halves, Fletcher Sharp is back from injury, which is very, very good signs for the Knights. CV hopefully doesn't get ruled out this time. Sandon Smith there in the 7. In your forwards, Jacob Saifidi and Tyson Frizzell is up front with Trey Mooney suspended for a game. Then you've got Phoenix Crossland there in the 9. On your edges, Dylan Lucas and Jermaine McEwen, and then Matt Croker getting the start there at lock, who I've been really, really impressed with. So I think that's a very good, deserving start for Matt Croker. On your bench, Thomas Carr, Pasami Solo, Cody Hopwood, Francis Manu Leilua, Tyson Gamble, and Harrison Graham there. No massive surprise for me. Just good to see, obviously, Fletcher Sharp back into that team. Matt Croker comes into the lock spot. Tyson Frizzell moves into the front row, which I think probably suits Tyson Frizzell a bit more now, like a 40-minute role for Trey Mooney, who has been suspended. Panthers and the Eels Saturday afternoon from Combank in this one here. Panthers running hot at 3-0. I'd say this will be pretty unchanged. For the Panthers, Dylan Edwards at fullback. On your wings, Thomas Jenkins, the Milky Bar kid on fire at the moment, and Brian To'o. In your centres, Paul Alamotti and Casey McLean. In your halves, Blaze Halangi and Nathan Cleary. In your forwards, Moses Leota and Lindsay Smith. At hooker, you got Mitch Kenny. On your edges, Isaiah Papali and Liam Martin, and then Isaiah Yeo at lock. On your bench, Jack Cogger, Billy Phillips, Scott Sorensen, Luke Garner, Isaac Tungo, and Freddie Lussick. I think that's pretty unchanged. Obviously, Jack Cogger is out this week. I think he's got a HIA. He's back this week. He was out last week. So no starting changes to the 13, so no big surprises for me there. For your Eels, we've got, this will be a tiny bit injury riddle. We've got Iongi at the back there. On your wing, Simonson and the Fox. In your centers, Brian Kelly comes in for Jordan Sanrani. And then you got Sean Russell there in the other center there. Jonah Pezzett and Mitch Moses there in the halves. Starting up front, you got Jack Williams and Junior Barlow and Riley Smith starting at hooker. On your edges, Kelma Tuolangi and Kitiana Katoga there, and Dylan Walker gets a start there at lock for the injured Jermaine Hopwood. Although Dylan Walker was a late start actually last week, but now Jermaine Hopwood is out for the season. I'd say Dylan Walker will be starting there. Surprised to see no Jack DeBellin now actually starting, but interesting. I really like Dylan Walker off the bench. On your bench, Talon De Silva, Sam Tuivasa, Matt Dory, Luca Moretti, Charlie Geimer, and Josh Papali. Still no Jack DeBellin. Yeah, he's there in the reserves. Wow. Either I don't know what's going on with Jack DeBellin, because he was like one of the kind of biggest signings. He was starting lock in the first 2 rounds. He wasn't disaster, but he wasn't great. And now he's just being completely dropped to reserves. Wow, I find that very, very interesting. One to monitor, definitely, for sure. Cowboys in the Storm Saturday night here from Townsville, 6:30 local kickoff. All right, for the Cowboys at the back with Scott Drinkwater at fullback. On the wings, Braden Burns and Murray Talangi. In your centers, Jackson Perdue and Zach Laybutt comes in for the suspended Tom Chester, which is such a pain in Supercoach. In your halves, Jake Clifford and Tommy Dearden. Up front, we've got Colin Hess and Jason Tamalolo, and then Reed Marnie starting there at hooker. On your edges, Helium Lukey, Sam McIntyre, and then Ruben Cotter starting there at lock. On your bench, Sonny Luke, Kai Donald, Griffin Neem, Harrison Edwards, Thomas McKaylee, good to see him back, and Liam Sutton. Matthew Lodge has been dropped to the reserve. I think he's been pretty ordinary, so that's something I can probably get behind. No massive surprise. The only real change I had to make would have been Zach Laybutt in for Tom Chester, which is a nice, easy swap. Zach Laybutt should have been there in Vegas, but he's suspended. Now, funny how it works. Tom Chester gets suspended. Zach Laybutt straight in. So, big chance of Zach Laybutt to prove his spot, to keep his spot. If he plays well, I'd say he retains his spot next week. For the Storm, we've got Suafar Logo at the back there, Will Warbrick and Nick Meaney on the wings, Jack Howarth and Moses Leo there in the centres. Big watch on Moses Leo this week. I think he's been pretty quiet the last 2 weeks, so he's got to try and prove himself this week. In your halves, Ken Munster, Jerome Hughes. Up front, Stefano Utoikamanu and Josh King. We've got Harry Grant starting there at hooker. Joe Chan and Alec McDonald there on the edges with Atuvale Lasati out for 3 more weeks. And then Trent Liero is back starting there at the lock, which is good to see for the Storm. On your bench, Tyron Wishart, Cooper Clark, Tui Kamikamitha, Damien Wiley, Jack Hetherington, and Sualangi Tumalatu Brown. Not a whole lot of massive surprises there. Trent Liero was back last week, but now he gets his first starting spot back for the season and for the Storm in round 4. And obviously that's, well, no real change actually there. Obviously just Alec McDonald is starting once again for Lasati there, who was a late out last week. Otherwise, I think Storm are in for a massive, massive bounce back this week against the Cowboys. Heading on to Sunday afternoon footy, Raiders and the Sharks. This one should be an absolute cracker. At fullback for the Raiders, KO Weeks. On the wings, we've got Savile Tamale and Xavier Savage. In your centres, Simi Sasangi retains his spot still. There's still no signs of Matt Timoko starting. And Seb Chris. In your halves, Ethan Strange and Ethan Sanders. Up front, we've got Morgan Smithies and Joe Tarpany. So Morgan Smithies starting up front for Josh Papali'i, who's, I think he's been suspended. I'm not sure if it's for 1 game or 2 games. I believe he has been suspended. On your edges, Huddy Young and Noah Martin, which is good to see. And then Corey Horsebrush starting there at lock. On your bench, Jaden Brayley, Zach Hosking, Ata Mariota, Joe Roddy, Dane Laurie, and Jed Stewart. No massive surprises. Still no sign. Whereas Matt Timoko's on the reserve. So, wow, he must be really... I know Ricky Stewart loves Simi Sasangi. Just very, very surprised. Matt Timoko hasn't even got a sniff yet. 4 rounds in, hasn't even got a sniff. I know he's battling preseason injury, but he's playing New South Wales Cup. But I've really been impressed with Sasangi there at centre. So, maybe he's just happy to have him there for as long as he keeps playing well. Maybe something happens when... Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. For the Sharkies, we've got at the back Will Kennedy. On your wings, we've got Sione Katoa and Sammy Stonestreet. In your centres, Jesse Raymond and Cal Iro. In the halves, we've got Braden Trindle and Nico Hines. Up front, we've got AFB and Tom Hazelton. And Blake Brayley, captain and starting hooker. On your edges, Billy Burns and Teague Wilton. Okay. I don't know if Britton Nicker has either been dropped or picked up an injury. We'll see on the reserves. Jesse Colquhoun there at lock. On your bench, Sifa Talakai, Toby Rudolph, Oregon Kafusi, Braden Welle, Hohepa Purdue, and Tuki Hao Tapua. No sign of Britton Nicker at all in the 22. He must be injured. I know he hasn't been that good to start the season, but dropped fully from the whole 22. Seems very unusual. Seems like something that Craig Fitzgibbon doesn't generally do, but maybe he's just been say, just have a week off. Work hard, get your form back, because he has been pretty disappointing, I think, the first few weeks. But to be completely dropped and not even on the bench, I find very, very interesting. One to also definitely monitor. All right, Titans and the Dragons here. The Spoon Bowl preview, I'm believing. This is in the 5:15 slot Sunday afternoon. In your fullback for the Titans, Keanu Keeney. On your wings, we've got Fine Money still there. Thank fuck for that. And Philip Sami. In your centres, Jojo Fafita and Max Fine. In your halves, we've got AJ Bremson and Jaden Campbell making his first official start now in the 7 jersey. In your forwards, these guys need a big game. Mo Fodawaker and Tino Fa'asul Maliawi. In your hookers, Sam Verrills. Thank goodness for this. On your edge, Aaron Mahal and Bo Fermont. I was worried Aaron Mahal was going to get dropped to the bench this week. Chris Randall starting there at lock. On your interchange, Curtis Moran, Tui Simpkins, Cleese Haas, Cooper Bye, Lockie Ellis, and Josh Patson is there on the bench. Now, he was there on the bench last week. He didn't end up playing any minutes. I heard he was just there for cover, just in case. I would probably assume, looking at his bench, the same thing. Curtis Moran would come on, Tui Simpkins, Cleese Haas, and Cooper Bye. I could be so wrong, though. One, I'm kind of keeping an eye out, though. Hopefully, Aramahal has a good game. and he ends up still retaining his spot and playing 80 minutes there. I need it for Supercoach badly. All right, let's just have a quick look at this Dragons with Ryan Caption quickly. I've got the Judiciary site up here. Now, latest update was 7:02 local time down there in Sydney. No further update from 7:02, which I find interesting. It's been 24 minutes since that last update when I am doing this. Latest update, hearing is adjourned to decide the penalty, either 3 or 4 matches. Now, that's different. I heard originally 4, then I heard 6. Gabar said a 3-match ban would be appropriate. I think Gabar is representing Ryan Catchman. Either 3 or 4 matches. I would say it's probably going to be 4 from what I think I've read previously. Look, Giles has asked for a 4-match ban, sending strong messages to other players about the risk of hip drop casual. I would probably say it's going to be 4-match ban for Ryan Catchman. So Supercoach wise, I think he is a trade out. But yeah, I'd say it's going to be a 4-match ban for Ryan Catchman. But for the Dragons this week, at the back, we've got Clint Gutherson. On your wings, Christian Tui Pilotu and Setu 2. In your centres, Moses Sully and Val Holmes. In your HAAS, Kyle Flanagan and Daniel Atkinson. Up front, we've got Emre Gula and Blake Lowry. I know Toby Catchman. Did he cop an injury last week? I know he's had a niggle, but I didn't know if he copped an injury. I didn't actually watch the game against the Eels. Damien Cook starting there, hooker. On your edges, we've got Luciano Leilua, my boy, and Jaden Sewer, and then Hamish Stewart starting at lock. On your bench, Jacob Little, Haim Saleh, Jacob Halangahu, Loco Pacifici Tonga, who had a injury scare last week in training, but good to see him there. Josh Kerr and Hayden Buchanan. So yeah, no signs whatsoever of Toby Catchman at all. He's obviously carrying some form of injury. No Catchman brothers for the Dragons. This forward battle is going to be very interesting. You got 2 forwards on the Titans who have been struggling massively, and Emery Gould and Blake Lowry don't really get me excited up and off the couch. So I'm very intrigued to see how this match goes in a way, because it's probably going to be a poo slinger, but could be slightly entertaining in a way there as well. But there it is, guys. There is your TLT live reaction from round 4. Couple big surprises. Payne Haas is out. He is not playing this week. I don't know if he will be there next week. And another one I'm stoked about, Lukey Matt back in the team early. You love to see it. Heard round 7, round 8 preseason. Sounds like he's good to go. Round 4 in the 6, Tanner Boyd 7. I'm absolutely stoked about it. I think Andrew Webster has made the right call there, so I'm absolutely stoked about it. But that'll do it for me, guys. I'll catch you for the trade room on Thursday morning to discuss preview for round 4 trades. It's an absolute clusterfuck, but make sure you get that. It'll be entertaining as shit. But thank you so much for watching, guys, and cheers.